Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video, we're all gloved up here and I'm going to take and show you how I get all of the nooks and crannies cleaned on my very detailed fine scroll work after you do all sorts of forge welding and things like that. The question's been asked time and time again, how do you get, how do you get in between all the scrolls and get them all cleaned up? Do you wire wheel it? Is there some sort of sandpaper trick, this or that? And I'm going to show you my method of removing scale from very elaborate pieces where you can't get it in there with mechanical means to actually remove the scale. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video and I'll show you what I do. Okay, so what you see that I have laid out here before me is I have a stainless steel dish. This is like a very large dog watering bowl. It could be, I'm not sure what this is. I think this was a very large dog watering bowl to start with, but any stainless steel pot should work out pretty well for this process. I like using stainless steel because of the subject matter of the acid that is actually in this here right now. So I generally like to use a cleaning vinegar to actually soak out my pieces in to loosen up the scale on the surface. Well, if you have a lack of cleaning vinegar, which has a fairly high pH level, and you need to get the job done a little bit quicker, it is also okay to add a little muriatic acid as well to take and speed up this process. So the two main tools is you're going to need some acid. You're going to need a pair of tongs so you can pull it up out of the acid while it's working. And then this is the main thing that I use to get into all the little crevices. It is a simple toothbrush. You can go pick these up at any dollar store, Dollar General, you name it, Walmart, whatever tickles your fancy. And when the acid has softened up the scale that is on the surface, it is very easily removed with scrub brushes and scrubbed off with toothbrushes and anything of the like. This makes it super handy to get into all the little nooks and crannies. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of here right now. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. As you can see, I've already done some work on this. The biggest thing you want to avoid with any acid is splashing. You don't get splashed in the face. Ideally, you'd wear a mask during this. I can't because I'm demonstrating right now. You'd want to wear a mask of some kind to keep any sort of fumes that are coming off of this from getting in your nose. I will tell you, muriatic acid, if you inhale the fumes enough on it, you will get a pretty bad sinus infection, or at least I have found that I get one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the acid and I'm just going to scrub the scale. Now some of the scale will get real tough or decide it wants to be really, really tough to get off, and some of it will clean off right away. And this will take several dippings like this. So I take and I scrub it up very lightly, trying to make sure I don't end up, flicking the toothbrush up at myself. But I'm going to use this scrubber and that will help scrub these joints off like that. Now, I'm working on the surfaces here and they have a bit more scale on them than what the whole rest of the piece does. I'll show that off there. But where this brush really shines, again, this could be taken care of with the wire wheel, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. But where the brush really shines is getting into all these little details and little nooks and crannies down in the piece that you can't normally get at. And that's right where welding flux and just junk scale, a lot of bound up scale likes to exist from your forge welding fire. So it's really nice to be able to get in there and clean all of that out just by working that toothbrush inside of there. Now they do make some dental flossers, and some mascara brushes are another good thing to use. If you find one that's stiff bristled enough to get into these tiny little scroll elements, I found that to be super helpful. But I wanted to show what everybody can get here. Again, I wouldn't go spend a mint on this. This brush isn't going to last long, especially with the muriatic acid and everything else going after it. Don't spend a fortune on this. Use use really cheap brushes and things like that to get in here and get this stuff off. So that's how I clean this up. Obviously the background element, things like that, that stuff cleans up super easy. Super easy when you can actually get a wire wheel in at the various pieces. This brush right here is really helpful to get into all the little nooks and crannies. So after I've gotten it brushed, after I get it brushed pretty well, what I like to do is I like to take the piece right now as it is. I've got it bolted together right now. I like to take the piece as it is, and I actually like to submerge it in a bucket of water, rinse it off really good, submerge that, get it rinsed off really well, and then take and analyze what I need to do next or get in all the little nooks and crannies a bit more. So I've got a bucket of water here. It's just a Home Depot bucket. Pretty simple. I'm just going to rinse this off in that bucket of water. Just splash it up and down a couple good times. Get that acid to rinse off. And now I'll just handle it with my hands. Now. Okay. You want to watch dripping water into the acid too when you get back around at it here. But now I'll take and inspect this, use my fingers to see where the heavy scale's still at. And again, if it needs to go a little longer, I just let it keep going. I just let it keep going a little longer and a little longer as it goes. And you'll see that the whole patina of this, it'll turn a really nice gray color. And that's how you know all those surface oxides have been eaten off. If it still has something in there or in between the scrolls, you'll see like a little dark area. You'll see a bit of dark scale, mill scale or forging scale that'll still be in there. But so that's what I do. I do that. I will stick this back in because I got some hard to remove scale here. This should, when it's done right, this scale should just basically rub right off. Like you should be able to get your finger on there and rub that right off. That's why I said a mascara brush would work if it's a stiff bristled one. You know, tooth flossers that have like the little bristles on them, that can help get into these tiny little areas and get all the scale out of the piece. So there you go. If you've got some fancy work, some fancy scroll work that you're trying to get all cleaned up and you're struggling with it, that's how I do it. So at the end of the day, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it informative. Also, if you feel so inclined, check out my YouTube playlist series on making this French Baroque style door knocker. I have an entire 4-part series where I've put this thing together. Hopefully you guys will see that here soon. Hopefully I'll have part 4 out before this video is done. But if you haven't seen it yet, go check that out. I will have that linked up in the description down below. Thank you to all the channel members that make this content possible. God bless each and every last one of you, and we'll catch you on the next one.